We've got a trade happening in the middle of the NBA Finals, and this is an interesting one. The Grizzlies, they're going to trade Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic.
Everything happens for a reason, and I feel like I got in the best situation possible. I've been wanting to go to Memphis from the jump. I'm living my dream, playing for the Grizzlies and winning games, so it's great.
The Memphis Grizzlies just made the most shocking trade of the 2025 offseason, and it's not what anyone saw coming. Desmond Bane, the sharpshooting guard who signed a massive $197 million extension just 2 years ago, has been shipped to Orlando in a deal that's sending shockwaves through the entire league. But here's the kicker. Memphis didn't just trade their franchise cornerstone, they got 4 first-round picks in return. This trade changes everything. Let's break down exactly what went down. The Orlando Magic acquired Desmond Bane from Memphis in exchange for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and 1 lightly protected pick swap. This is absolutely massive. We're talking about 5 total draft assets for 1 player. Bane is coming off his best statistical season, averaging 19.2 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 5.3 assists while shooting nearly 40% from three-point range. At just 26 years old, he's entering his prime, and Orlando just locked him up through the 2028-29 season. Magic president Jeff Weltman didn't mince words. Over his 5 years in the NBA, Desmond has distinguished himself as one of the elite guards in our league. This acquisition screams win-now mode for Orlando. Think about it. They just gave up their entire draft future for the next half-decade. That's not something you do unless you believe you're one piece away from contending. With Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner already forming a solid core, adding Bane's elite shooting and playmaking could transform this Magic team overnight. But here's where it gets controversial. ESPN analyst Bomani Jones absolutely torched this move, saying Orlando doesn't have a frontline superstar to justify this type of all-in approach. He called their core players low spades, essentially saying they're good, but not championship-level centerpieces. Now let's talk about Memphis, because this trade raises serious questions about their direction. Just 5 months ago, the Grizzlies were eliminated from the playoffs. Now they're trading away their second-best player for what appears to be a rebuild package. The return is substantial. Caldwell-Pope gives them a solid veteran presence, averaging 8.7 points on 44% shooting this past season. Cole Anthony adds depth in the backcourt, though he struggled to find consistent minutes in Orlando. But the real prize, those 4 first-round picks. Here's what makes this fascinating. Jaren Jackson Jr. is in the final year of his deal. Are the Grizzlies positioning themselves for a complete teardown, or is this strategic retooling around Ja Morant's return from suspension? This trade officially kicks off what analysts are calling the wildest offseason in years. We're already hearing rumors about Kevin Durant being shopped by Phoenix, with San Antonio, Houston, and Miami all expressing interest. The Lakers are actively building around their newly acquired Luka Doncic. And don't even get me started on the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau just days after reaching the conference finals. But here's the thing. The Bane trade sets a new market value for star players. If Orlando was willing to give up 4 first-rounders for Bane, what does that mean for Durant's asking price? Or if Giannis actually demands a trade from Milwaukee? Let's talk money, because this trade has massive salary cap implications. Orlando just took on Bane's remaining $157 million contract. They also released Gary Harris and Corey Joseph, declining team options worth a combined $11 million to create flexibility. This aggressive spending puts Orlando in a completely different tier financially. They're betting that Banchero, Wagner, and Bane can form a big 3 capable of competing in the Eastern Conference. With the Celtics dealing with Jason Tatum's Achilles injury and potential cost-cutting moves, the East suddenly looks wide open. When was the last time we saw a trade this bold from Orlando? You'd have to go back to the Dwight Howard era. This franchise has been methodically building through the draft for years, accumulating young talent and draft picks. Now, they're cashing in everything for 1 player. The comparison to Milwaukee's championship run is obvious. They built around Giannis and made aggressive moves to maximize their window. Could Orlando be following the same blueprint with Banchero as their centerpiece? Here's what nobody's talking about: the immense pressure this puts on coach Jamal Mosley. Orlando just mortgaged their future for the next 5 years. There's no more building for tomorrow narrative. They need to win now. Bane's injury history is also worth monitoring. He's played just 58, 42, and 69 games over the past 3 seasons. Orlando's medical staff better have done their homework because they can't afford extended absences from their $197 million investment. But here's what makes this offseason absolutely unpredictable. This Bane trade is just the beginning. NBA insiders are already calling this the unexpected wildcard move that sets the tone for everything else. Remember, 2 years ago, it was the Dame trade that shocked everyone. Last year, Karl Anthony Towns to New York came out of nowhere. The pattern is clear. There's always one trade that nobody sees coming, and Orlando just delivered it. But if history tells us anything, there's probably another bombshell waiting. Could the Spurs or Rockets make an aggressive play for Durant? Will the Thunder cash in some of their massive asset collection if they don't win the title? And let's talk about the ripple effects in the East. The Magic aren't the only team making noise. The Knicks just fired Tom Thibodeau 3 days after reaching their first conference finals in 25 years. And their coaching search has been absolutely chaotic. New York asked for permission to speak with multiple current head coaches, and every single request was denied. But the real drama might be coming from Boston. The Celtics were already facing a $52.5 million luxury tax bill before Jason Tatum's devastating Achilles injury. Now they're staring at a potential gap year, which could mean moving Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, or even bigger names like Derek White or Jaylen Brown. If Boston starts selling and Orlando is buying with their new big three, the entire Eastern Conference hierarchy could flip overnight. Don't sleep on Philadelphia either. They're sitting with the 3rd pick in the draft, and nobody knows what they're going to do with it. Are they drafting to complement their aging stars Paul George and Joel Embiid, or are they trading down for immediate help? The Sixers are caught between timelines. They have young talent like Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, but they've also invested heavily in veterans. Their decision could determine whether they're buyers or sellers in this crazy market. So, where does everyone go from here? Orlando needs to surround their new big three with complementary pieces. The Magic might not be done. They've shown they're willing to be aggressive, and with the East looking weaker, they could make another splash. Memphis, meanwhile, could be just getting started. Those 4 picks give them incredible flexibility to either rebuild from scratch or package assets for another star. Keep an eye on Jackson Jr. If he doesn't extend, Memphis might cash out there too. The Desmond Bane trade officially kicks off NBA's silly season. Orlando just made the boldest move in franchise history, while Memphis shocked everyone by pivoting away from their core. Whether this works out for the Magic or becomes a cautionary tale about trading away your future remains to be seen. But one thing's for certain, the 2025 NBA offseason just got a lot more interesting. What do you think? Did Orlando give up too much, or is this the move that finally gets them back to relevance? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more breaking NBA news.
Well, I think this pretty much closes the book on its Me Too. They're tuning in for Me Too. Oh, the WNBA's not going to like that. Oh, those Angel Reese trolls online that are trying to come for me and other YouTube channels, y'all aren't going to like this. Good. Too bad.
Caitlin Clark's return just shattered WNBA ticket trends, and Angel Reese can't hide her frustration. Prices crashed 70% the moment Clark was ruled out, proving who really drives the league's value. Reese's abrupt media shutdown says it all. The league is in the era of Clarkonomics, and not everyone's ready to admit it. Caitlin Clark has single-handedly turned WNBA ticket prices into luxury items. The Chicago Sky forward finds herself watching as Clark's return from injury triggers a financial earthquake that exposes exactly who drives viewership in women's basketball. The numbers tell the complete story of Clark's economic impact on the WNBA. When the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever were scheduled to play on June 7th, initial ticket prices sat at $76 per seat. These prices reflected anticipation for the Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark matchup that fans wanted to witness. However, after Clark's quad injury was announced and her absence from the game became certain, those same tickets plummeted to $25. This represents a 70% price drop based solely on one player's availability.
Like, proven fact is, like, they had a game on June 7th scheduled. You know, it was going to be Angel Reese's team, which plays for Chicago, and then for Caitlin Clark's team. They were supposed to go up there playing Chicago on June 7th. First, the ticket sales were at $76 a ticket. Then after they found out Caitlin Clark's not playing that game, she got injured, sales dropped to $25 a ticket.
The Fever versus Mystics game provides an even more dramatic example of the Caitlin Clark effect. Before her injury announcement, the cheapest available tickets cost $41. Once fans learned Clark would not be playing, the lowest ticket price crashed to $3. $3 for a professional basketball game demonstrates the direct correlation between Clark's presence and fan willingness to spend money on WNBA entertainment.
I mean, it's more statistical proof, data, to confirm exactly what we've been saying, that Caitlin Clark is driving this whole ship, this whole bus. She's driving it. Everybody else, get in the back. Get in the back.
The venue change adds another layer to this economic phenomenon. The Sky Fever game was moved from the regular Wintrust Arena, which holds approximately 8,000 fans, to the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls, with a capacity exceeding 20,000 seats. This venue upgrade was specifically chosen to accommodate the expected demand for the Reese-Clark showdown. When Clark's injury eliminated half of that marquee matchup, ticket sales reflected the immediate impact. Clark has fundamentally altered the economics of women's basketball. Before her arrival, WNBA tickets were priced lower than gas station food items. Now they command premium prices typically associated with major entertainment events. This transformation represents the shift from the traditional WNBA era to what industry observers call Clarkonomics, a period where one player's presence determines market value across the entire league. The most revealing moment came during Angel Reese's recent media interaction. A reporter from Big Media approached Reese with a pointed question referencing her previous statements.
Hi, Angel. David Moses with the Biggest Media. Last year, you made a powerful statement saying the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you two. A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question.
Yeah, we'll move on. Thank you.
This response marked a significant departure from Reese's previous confidence about her role in driving WNBA viewership. Last year, she publicly stated that people tuned in to watch both players, not just Clark. The current reality has made that position increasingly difficult to maintain when faced with concrete evidence of Clark's singular impact on ticket sales, television ratings, and overall league attention. The broader WNBA landscape reveals systematic resistance to acknowledging Clark's transformative influence. Players throughout the league demonstrate what observers describe as eye rolls, hard fouls, and whispers when discussing Clark's impact. This behavior reflects a mentality questioning who allowed Clark to join their exclusive circle rather than embracing the opportunity her popularity creates for everyone. Veteran players express particular resentment toward the attention Clark receives. Instead of recognizing how her success elevates the entire league's profile, some established players treat her arrival as an unwelcome intrusion rather than the revolutionary shift it represents. This resistance manifests in on-court treatment that goes beyond normal competitive play. The statistical evidence of Clark's dominance extends far beyond ticket prices. Indiana Fever jersey sales increased by 1,193% this season. The team now sells out every home game with crowds exceeding 17,000 fans. When Clark announced her entry into the WNBA draft on a Thursday afternoon, the Fever organization received over 6,000 phone calls from fans wanting to purchase season tickets by Sunday night. Even their mascot, Freddie Fever, saw appearance requests increase by 150%.
Ticket sales are down 70% in many places. The Fever played the Mystics 2 nights ago. The cheapest ticket before her injury was announced was $41, okay? The cheapest one. After her injury was announced and people knew that she wasn't going to be playing, the lowest ticket price dropped to $3. 3. This is the Caitlin Clark effect. The WNBA still doesn't quite realize what they have in Caitlin Clark. She is the absolute golden goose, the golden ticket. She is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They must protect her at all costs. You can argue all you want if she's the best player in the league, but you absolutely cannot argue if she's the most important, because she is. She is more valuable than all the other players combined, and that is just a fact.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has attempted to claim credit for the WNBA's sudden popularity surge. She presents herself as the architect of strategic growth initiatives that supposedly created the current boom. Engelbert authored an article explaining her 3-pillar strategy and how her leadership transformed the league. However, this narrative ignores the obvious connection between Clark's arrival and the WNBA's mainstream breakthrough. Engelbert's article mentions Clark's name only 2 or 3 times while extensively detailing her own contributions to league growth. She credits her work in partnership with NBA colleagues and WNBA owners for developing strategies that think player first. This self-congratulatory approach attempts to reframe Clark's individual impact as the result of organizational planning that predated her arrival. The reality contradicts Engelbert's version of events. The WNBA struggled with attendance and television ratings before Clark entered the league. Games were relegated to secondary television slots, often appearing after obscure programming like cornhole championships. The league's transformation occurred specifically after Clark's college career captured national attention and carried over to her professional debut. Clark faces physical treatment that raises concerns about the league protecting its most valuable asset. She absorbs excessive contact that referees allow to continue with minimal intervention. This play-on mentality puts the league's primary economic driver at unnecessary risk. Clark draws more fouls than typical for a player of her position and style, yet receives inadequate protection from officials. The economic stakes make this treatment particularly problematic. Clark represents the WNBA's equivalent of LeBron James, Serena Williams, or Stephen Curry, a transcendent athlete who elevates their sport's entire profile. Her presence inflates paychecks across the league as television contracts improve and attendance increases. Ticket scalping around WNBA games now operates at levels previously seen only for major concerts by artists like Beyoncé. Media coverage of the WNBA has transformed completely due to Clark's presence. ESPN now provides extensive coverage of league games rather than burying them between niche programming. National sports media treats WNBA games as legitimate sporting events worthy of primetime attention. Social media platforms buzz with debates about women's basketball strategy and individual player performances. Male sports fans who previously ignored women's basketball now follow WNBA storylines and attend games. This crossover appeal represents the type of cultural breakthrough professional women's sports have sought for decades. TikTok features regular content analyzing WNBA plays and discussing league dynamics, bringing younger audiences into the conversation. The paradigm shift extends beyond typical sports coverage. Crowds at fever games create more noise during warm-up sessions than many teams generate during actual gameplay. This enthusiasm reflects genuine excitement about witnessing Clark's performances rather than obligatory support for local teams. Clark's influence operates even when she's not actively playing. Her mere presence on a roster affects television ratings, merchandise sales, and arena atmosphere. When she sits on the bench due to injury, fans still fill arenas, hoping for a potential appearance. The current situation exposes the gap between Clark's actual impact and the recognition she receives from league officials and fellow players. While statistics prove her transformative effect on WNBA economics and popularity, resistance persists from those who should benefit most from her success. Angel Reese's awkward media moment exemplifies this broader reluctance to acknowledge the obvious reality that one player has fundamentally changed women's professional basketball.
Jockeying for position, hopefully for home court. I think she'll want that badly. They're as good as it gets in the NBA. At home is Reeves. Drills one.
Luka Doncic has just delivered the most devastating blow to the Dallas Mavericks organization in franchise history. And what he revealed about his shocking trade to the Los Angeles Lakers has completely exposed the incompetence and desperation that led to the worst front office decision in NBA history. The 26-year-old superstar's explosive comments about his February 2025 trade have sent shockwaves through the basketball world, and the catastrophic details that have emerged paint a picture of organizational dysfunction so severe that it will haunt the Mavericks for decades to come. What happened behind the scenes during Luka's trade negotiations wasn't just poor management. It was systematic organizational malpractice that has left Dallas as the laughingstock of the entire NBA while simultaneously creating the biggest what-if scenario in modern basketball history.